But we got the beetles under control. And hark, we've got to learn how to deal with VarroaMites. Are VarroaMites a problem up here? Okay. All right. I do the internet, and I knew I had been away from everything a long time. So I got on the internet and I printed out probably a stack 3 feet deep, and learned a lot about mites, but didn't know really any more about how to deal with them when I got through reading than I did to start with. Oh, I see a lot of heads nodding. Okay, so I wasn't by myself. Let's give Alex a hand. He has agreed to run that thing for me, so I won't have to be going back and forth. Okay, when I do that, that's page down. Okay, VarroaMites. Yep. Finger point. All right, VarroaMites were identified in the U.S. in 1988. They spread quickly across the country. They originated in Asia somewhere. They weaken the honeybees by clinging to them, and they've got little sticky stuff on their feet. That's how they hold on. They cut the bee skin and drink the hemoglobin. It's bee blood. Okay. And compared to size, it's a pretty good load. The mite is pretty big compared to the bee. Okay. Now, these mites will kill the honeybee colony because they raise their brood in the honeybee brood. And we'll explain that in just a minute. They use that honeybee brood as the nursery. Next. Okay, life cycle. And here's how they do it. And on the first page, I said this is from a beekeeper's perspective, okay? We're not going to do the deep, dark science. We're going to do what we need to know to kill mites. All right, so mother mite clings to the adult bee, and she cuts her spot and drinks the bee blood until she gets ready to raise little ones. Now, you've got to have honeybee brood for the mite to reproduce. Now, when she's ready to reproduce, she jumps off of the bee and crawls into a cell with a larva, a bee larva, that's ready to be capped. She'll crawl down and hide under the bottom of it so the bees won't drag her out. And they'll cap it over. Then she lays an egg that produces a male mite. Later, she lays 1, 2, or sometimes 3 eggs that produce females. When all the mites hatch and mature, the male mite mates with his sister mites so that they are fertile. Okay? The male mite dies. The female mites leave when the bee comes out, the bee emerges, comes out of the cell. Now, you had one mother mite go in, and you'll probably have the mother mite and generally 2 new mites come out. And mother mite may be able to do this 2 or 3 times. So she produces a lot of mites. Okay? Now, with that life cycle, and this is where I learned, here's what we got to do about mites. I'd study and study and study, and they tell you all this stuff, and finally one guy had said, mite population can double every 3 to 4 weeks. So I went back, you know, to this. All right, now bee brood, you remember, honeybees take 21 days to mature. Now that's from egg to emerging. The drone takes 24 days, which gives the mites a little more time. Therefore, they prefer drone. At any rate, I've done lots and lots of study. But I put this information into an Excel spreadsheet. Let's see if that's next, Alex. It is. It doubles. Okay, now in the wintertime, there's very little or no bee brood, so the mites die off. Okay, so in the springtime, we start with a low number. That may be 100 or 200, I don't know. And that, see, it's not precise. I don't know if this population doubles every 2 weeks or, every 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I think I used 24 days, may have been 26 days or whatever. But you start with 100 mites back here and double it every 26 days. You go from 100 to 200 to 400 to 800. Well, what they call the economic threshold is like 3,000. So 800 is not a problem. When I told that thing to draw me a chart, a graph, well, lo and behold, when do I need to treat for mites? How about right here? Okay? And why they haven't told us this, I don't know. But I had to work that out the hard way. Now, it happens in my area that we have a dry spell in July, so it works perfectly for me. I take my honey supers off the first part of July, and I treat the end of July, maybe into the first week of August. Knocks mites out, and I never get very much population of mites. Now, your area, if you've got a honey flow going on here, then it's going to be more difficult to deal with. Let me see, what am I saying here? The graves, 3,000 mites. Yeah, okay. You notice I'm not talking about, yes, sir.
When do you put your honey supers back on then?
Yes,
When
yeah.
do you put them back on?
A week after I take the ApiGuard off, and I'm going to talk about the treatments here in a minute. And a new treatment, maybe that will work. All right, what we discovered, because mites are hard to see, and they tell you to run the sticky board can. None of that is accurate. The only way you're going to have any mites you got is to kill the whole hive and wash them all. You know, well, you done killed your bees. Kind of pointless. I don't count mites as such. I'll tell you in a few minutes how I do determine the next treatment later in the year. But at any rate, we have a dry spell, so I take honey supers off, put ApiGuard in, put 110 of it, and we'll talk about that if we need to, and leave it for 2 weeks, and then put another one in for 2 weeks, and they've got it cleaned out by then anyway. But you pretty well knock the bees. Now, if you don't do that, what we were seeing, see, because the mites are on, they ride on the bees, but 80% of the mites are in the brood cells. They're going to hatch next week. Man, that hive looks good. 2 weeks later, it's dead. And the mites kill, they just hit it all of a sudden. No, they didn't. They started way back here. It seemed to be all of a sudden, but it wasn't. They've been working on killing that hive all year.
So what actually is killing the whole hive thing? I mean,
Sir?
You got all those mites on towards late September, past the threshold, economic threshold. You got mites on all the bees, you're saying, and that's just too much stress on the hive?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that and it begins killing the brood. They all get weak and sick. They have not convinced me yet that the VarroaMite is not a big contributor to the colony collapse disorder. They're still working on colony collapse, and hopefully the PhDs will solve that. But okay, next, Alex. All right, treatments. Apistan, I said Apiguard. That is checkmate. Just scratch that off. Apistan and checkmate are both poison, toxic. And I don't like poison in my beehive. Next. Now, formic acid is a natural substance. Traces you'll find traces of formic acid in your honey if you've never treated it with formic acid. But formic acid is harsh, tends to kill honeybee brood, which is not good, and the queen pretty much going to stop laying for while the acid is a tough treatment. Okay. Apiguard is thymol. Now, once I had that chart, okay, I got to treat it here, and I know that I have huge resistance to any kind of poison. Okay. So we studied chemicals for who knows, a long time. Read through all of it. Well, thymol, Apiguard is thymol. It's thymol gel, and it's made from a garden herb. I don't know if they call it thyme or thyme, but at any rate, they also make toothpaste and mouthwash from it. So it can't be too bad, can it? So that's what we decided. And the studies indicate that it's a bit more than 90% effective, which is up to par with the toxins, Apistan and checkmate. So we thought, okay, we'll go with thymol, and we did. And you'll have to get someone else to explain, because I'm not sure how these different things work. Apistan and checkmate are chemicals, and the mites, some of them, it doesn't kill them. So then you get a strain of mites that are resistant to the Apistan. Now, what I read is that mites, this thymol works differently, and I'm not sure how. One of the guys I read after said the best way to explain it is you're not going to become resistant or immune to being stabbed with a knife. Okay, like a chemical, you can get resistant or tolerant, but you ain't never going to get resistant to being stabbed. So I won't bother to even attempt to tell you how or why, but so far I've not found any studies where the mites have become resistant to thymol. Next. Now, if you don't want to use any treatment at all, you can put have you seen the foundation in the catalogs that is drone comb? Okay. You can put several frames of that in the hive, and you will, in fact, you'll generate a lot of drones. I don't do this, one, because it takes a lot of resources from the hive to raise that many drones. And second, now you remember drones emerge at 24 days. That's why the mites are attracted. You get a lot of mites in there. But I forgot and went fishing for a couple of days, and they all emerged, and now I've got a whole box full of mites and drones. So it's not something I recommend. But if you're more conscientious than I am, Alex, dusting with powdered sugar. Again, you have to be pretty religious every week. You got to stay with the powdered sugar, and you will probably keep your mite population under control, but don't skip a week.
When would you start dusting it?
Sorry?
What month of the year would you start dusting?
As soon as it gets warm enough to get in there. See, because honeybee brood, which starts back in the winter, equals VarroaMite reproduction. So you have to just...
What about on the packages, new packages? New package of bees?
Oh, absolutely. If you get them from the south, you got some mites on them.
Thymol works because it's a protein denaturing.
Say again?
Thymol works because it's a protein denaturing. It breaks down their cell walls.
Okay, thank you. Is that why they can't be resistant to it?
Well, they can. It's just more difficult.
Okay.
Internet.
All right. That man is good. Yes.
How effective is the drone comb percentage-wise? I mean,
The freezing method of the drone.
yeah, how effective is that if you do it properly?
The truth is, I don't know. You know, I could tell you something, but I'd rather tell you the truth, which is I don't know. I've read studies on that, and I just plain don't remember what that effectiveness level is. Ma'am, I'm hard of hearing.
At what time would you pull the drone comb out?
Oh, when they cap it. Yeah, see, when it's capped, then the mama mite has already run in there, and they'll cap it over, and then she starts raising her babies. So you take your drone comb out then and stick it in the freezer. And you kill a slew of mites that way.
Or they have those nifty heater things that you just plug
Sir?
in. Or they have those nifty heater things that they're selling over there. You just plug it in.
Mite zapper.
It's the lazy people way.
I haven't seen the mite zapper.
Oh, you just plug it into a car battery and it kills them all. And then they clean it out.
Zachary's got it in his play area. Yeah, actually, we're displaying the Mike Zapper.
Come tell me about it, man.
Well, I mean,
Hey, I do education. I want to help myself, and I want to help everybody else. We need more honeybees, and we need more beekeepers, and because now I sell beetle traps, and I sell a queen rearing kit. I don't sell a thing related to VarroaMites. Okay, so if you got something new on VarroaMites, well, come here and tell us all about it.
I probably spoke to many of you already, but basically what we have is a drone foundation. And it works just like the drone comb. And actually, Bee World, the recent magazine, they did an article conclusion was that the best way to treat for mites is using the drone cone,
Mm-hmm.
which we found pretty interesting. So basically, it's a drum cone, you put it in, to your colony, and, about 23 to 25, during the drone rearing season, about 23 to 25 days later, the brood will be sealed,
Mm-hmm.
and, what you do is you hook it up to a 12-volt battery for 5 minutes, and it kills the mites.
What does it do to the drones?
It will kill the drones.
Okay, and then
And then the bees will take out, and it's only one frame in the colony. So it will kill the drones, and the bees will clean it out, give the queen a clean slate to do it all over again. So we do that, we suggest 4 to 5 times a year, 5 minutes each time.
okay, all right. What your device replaces the 2 days in the freezer.
Yes, and
Pizza.
you don't have to open up your colony to, lift those heavy honey supers
Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah, right. You could leave it all on there. And,
year round.
Yeah, the wires, electric wires in it.
okay,
You install it one time, connect it, and then you just leave it.
okay,
So, yeah, it's pretty, amazing technology.
Yeah.
We're excited. We've been at it for 5 years. Zachary a little longer. He's been at it
great.
for 7,
Oh.
so.
Yeah, I was not aware of that at all.
Yeah,
Do you happen to know what he asked a while ago about the percentage effectiveness?
yeah, it's 85 to 95% effective, and we have, professors that have tested it across the country. We're waiting to get those, published results, and, we've been using it, so absolutely, it's just as effective as the drone cone, method. You should read that bee world article with some good information. But does it kill the bee on top? No, it really kills the bees inside the cell, where.
I'm thinking between the shit and
It's just whatever's inside the cell. So we're killing the mites where they reproduce.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
the grid inside, embedded inside the phone.
Yeah, it's a cone. So, the heating element. The heating element, yeah, it's sandwiched in between. We have 2 halves and.
Two quick questions. Have you guys thought of having any kind of a solar collector and controller so that it could basically?
Yeah, we actually have, some patents pending. We're looking at controlling multiple hives.
So that you wouldn't have to go out
And
and basically
solar.
put it in and it would just take care of it.
Yeah, and solar's still a little expensive. It's a way to do it, but we're looking at it. We're trying to find a cost-effective way to do that. Like, you need a 12-volt battery.
Have you seen an increase in percentage of overwintering hives with that device installed?
Well, we suggest.
But are you seeing the good results?
Yeah, before, we do suggest, fall treatment before the winter, but, like this winter, I don't know what could have saved the bees here in Michigan. It was so cold,
yeah.
so.
Do you have a table out here?
Yeah, we do. We actually have a booth there.
Okay, well, let's go by there and check with it.
All right, thank you.
We need to, yeah, you can drop by my table and leave a little tip here in a little bit. Alex? Treatments, and I've already told you, my procedure is to apply Apiguard after extracting. It's not a harsh poison. Do your own research, select your own treatment, be sure to study the chart, and understand that the Varroa population will explode in the summer. Next. MAQS. The last few weeks, EPA approved Mite Away Quick Strips, and this is a formic acid slow-release gel. Alex? Next. Does not kill brood. It does kill the mite in the capped cell. Now, I haven't tried it because it's only lately been released, so I don't know. But if this thing does half of what they claim it will do, it will be wonderful. That will allow people that, because one more, you can use it with your honey supers on. See, that will solve our timing problem. You don't have to take your supers off because formic acid occurs naturally in honey. And they have this gel strip formulated so that it does not increase the amount of formic acid showing up in the honey. And this is NOD, I believe out of Canada, but it's a mighty way quick strip. Now, and how soon they're going to be able to get that out, I don't know. Question back here?
My understanding is not approved for Michigan.
Say again?
Not approved for Michigan. Even though it's got federal. Michigan is not its own,
Not on board. Okay. All right, Alex? All right, now the benefits of treating for the mites. Obviously, your colony will survive. Next, increased honey production. Next, overall health of the colony improves. Next. Now, here's what we discovered with the timing of killing. All right, whatever else you do during the year to control your mites, you need to really knock them in the head just before the fall brood rearing begins. What we discovered is if we have really healthy babies in the fall, then they're robust enough to go through the winter superbly. Now, and you folks, you need some really robust bees up here. And I confess I know nothing about the cold climate beekeeping. I would love to know more. Oh, by the way, when we came into Lansing about sundown the other day, we saw quite a few deer out in the field. Now, if any of you folks need help with an 8 or 10 point whitetail next fall, I can come up and make a study on cold weather beekeeping for you. Was there a question over here?
You missed it though, this short and bust out the barbecue weather compared to what it's got.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right, but the healthy fall babies has made a tremendous difference in our hives. In fact, and I'll give you this. Let's see what's next, Alex. Okay, let's talk about varroa resistant bees, and I think maybe at the end I get to talk about it. The long-term solution to VarroaMites is bees that will take care of it and that can defend themselves. And several queen breeders have made great. Old Weaver in Texas decided some years ago to let his bees live or die. Now you got to be tough because he had a big operation. Yeah, and but he managed. Now, and maybe I just didn't get the right ones, but the Weaver bees that I've used were not friendly. That may be what it takes. I don't know. But at any rate, we have Weaver and Ted, Marla Spivak, and has the Minnesota Hygienic. We've got the Varroa Sensitive, and the USDA office in New Orleans has a pretty large group of beekeepers and breeders providing pure Russian bees. Now, the pure Russian does pretty good with the Varroa, but she's going to die, and they're going to supersede, and she'll mate with the local, and then they're not friendly either. Okay, so Okay, next. The way the bees do this is through hygienic behavior. Hygienic behavior implies good housekeeping. Sweep the floor, wash your hands, brush your teeth, that kind of thing. And the hygienic behavior that we need as beekeepers is for the bees to have the ability to identify bee brood cells where mother mites are raising their little ones. It would be a pretty safe bet that they sense this with smells, pheromones, and because they're, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Bee breeders are working on getting strains of bees that however they do it, this cell has got mites. They come in and they chew the top off, and they take the bee pupa and drag it out and carry it outside and throw it away. In the process, they're taking the mites, the baby mites, they're throwing them out in the yard, and they die. So that population does not double every 3 or 4 weeks. That's how this hygienic behavior, and in the long run, I think we'll get there.
Does that hygienic behavior help with the hive bee at all too?
It will, in that it programs them to chase the beetles more. All right, now, well, with my trap it does, because I have a screen that the bees cannot get through and the beetles can, and when the bees chase them, which comes from this hygienic behavior, then they will run the beetles through the screen into the oven. So hygienic behavior is beneficial for all of that, for mites or beetles. Are we fairly clear on this hygienic behavior and how that functions? And as the bee breeders are able to focus in on this hygienic DNA, and then the bees will become more hygienic, and then they can take that group and get, okay, they're all have this level of behavior, and now I want to get the most gentle of these. And we can begin to select what we want. Alex? Okay. This is just part of an overall, what we kind of learned the last number of years. Because I had always used, back in the old days, the solid wooden bottom board. And of course, we were working on trying to figure out how to deal with these hive beetles. And we had to go to a screen bottom board. And as soon as we put the screen bottoms on, the hives, the colonies, immediately got a lot healthier. I mean, it was just obvious. They were more energetic, and everybody, everything worked better. That was before we even killed all the beetles. So, but during that time, now, southeast Arkansas has a massive invasion of these hive beetles, and but you would be surprised at the trash that is generated in a beehive anyway. But the screen bottom gives the honeybees a clean place to walk. And I don't have the PhD studies and trials and controls and all this. Beekeeper point of view, It helps a bunch. So as you don't buy a wooden bottom board. And these traps out here are two-part. Let's see what's on the next page, Alex. Yeah, there was an immediate and obvious improvement in health. And next, all right. Now this, that's a bee. I don't know if that. I don't think that's a mite. It's a little big for a mite. A mite is going to be about this size compared to the bee. But you see all the, and you're going to get a lot of pollen on that thing. But you get pollen on the bottom board. When we were having so much trouble with the beetles, we'd take a hive apart and we would literally, on a solid wooden box, there would be a ½ inch deep of goo and a doggone beetle larva just crawling. It was nauseating. We'll do that after dinner. Yeah, on the beetle, on the hive beetles. But you're going to get a lot of trash, but it all goes through this screen. Now, in the several years that we've had these things, I have found one dirty screen. And I think that hive, they had gotten weakened down or something. But the rest of them, if it's big enough not to fall through, the bees carry it out. So they continually have a clean surface to walk on. Now, you don't have to buy the whole trap if you are thinking about a bottom board, and whether you get mine or not, it doesn't matter. But get somebody's screen bottom. And up here, you will need a way to close it off in the winter, but leave your ½ inch at least between the screen and the bottom to catch all this trash. You can pull it out, wipe it off, and stick it back in. Keep that floor clean for the bees. Next. There's a trap. And this is for hive beetles. You can use it to check for if you want to do a sticky board count. You just pour a little oil in there, and it does the same thing. You see. I was gonna tell you how. Let's see what's next, Alex, and then one more. Okay, that's it. Back up a couple. What I do now, this is used cooking oil that I get down at the local chicken fried place because they give me that oil for free.
Don't let Al Gore see you doing that.
Sir?
Don't let Al Gore see you doing that. Be all over you like cheap suit.
Probably so. But all right. Now I showed you on the chart earlier that we treat for Varroa in late summer, July, August, somewhere in there, when that population's fixing to go up. Now I checked in my area, and you'll have. Like I say, I don't know enough about the cold climate. In my area, after Thanksgiving, I will put clean cooking oil in here because it's clear and I can see through it. I don't put much, just enough on the bottom. And I put it in there. Then I put ApiGuard. I run 2 deeps, okay? And you got to have the little 3/4 ring. Pick it up, put the ring on, put an ApiGuard, and set it down. Okay. And then, now that's on a day when it's going to be, the temperature will be up, at least up to 65. Then the next day, I just pull my tray out. If I got 2 or 3 mites, that's okay. If I've got dots, you know, like your frames are in here, and you got little trails for each frame. Yeah, you've seen that, haven't you? He's nodding his head. Okay, and you got, yeah, I'll leave that ApiGuard in there. And then that way for the winter, then I've knocked them back out, and next spring we're good to go. But I do recommend that you get a screen bottom, and like I say, if you don't have beetles, then you don't have to buy the tray. Just get you something to shove in there for the winter, and you can put duct tape across the back of it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just close it off, keep the wind out.
I'm new at all of this, but are those mites active all winter long?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well, they would be. All right, remember now, the mites are on the honeybees. The only way they reproduce is in honeybee brood. Okay? So, from Thanksgiving to Christmas, there's probably not any brood. But you would be surprised how early that old queen decides, I probably better get started on raising me some young'uns, because we're going to have dandelions here for long. So she'll start her a little small patch of brood, and they will emerge, and okay, we got a few. Well, and then she'll do this and this, and I suspect even in Michigan that you'll find some brood in January. As soon as you get bee brood, then you're raising mites.
What do they feed on?
Sir?
What do they feed on? What do they eat?
Bee blood. They feed on the bees. Yes, sir.
Have you seen any signs or problems with using Apigard where the bee's beard? I used Apilite Var last year, and I keep my bees. The father-in-law says half the hive sitting outside on the front porch and don't appear to want to go back in.
They will. They don't. It smells bad. Okay. And we have a screen inner cover out there you might look at, but I think I would let them beard, because the Apigard is not it's not killing. It might kill a few of your brood, but very little. I don't see any larvae in front of the hive when I use it. And the other thing is, Apigard is not just from the evaporation. Because it smells bad, they want to get it out of the hive, so I'm going to go up there and get me some of it. Well, she walks through it and gets it all over, a bunch of them. And carrying it back, they spread it, physically by walking in it. So that first little tin you put in there generally doesn't last very long. They get it scattered pretty quickly.